just decided to take my Ninja 250 out for a test drive. It's early February. Looks like it's going to be about 70 degrees or so. And so I just decided to take him out. I haven't actually ridden in about 3-4 months. So I'm feeling really good about getting back out and riding again. I'm hoping that the weather won't get too bad in the next few weeks so that I can ride a little bit more often. So we're just going to see how she rides. Probably going to have to get an oil change at some point, but she's feeling pretty good right now. In Washington, D.C. So the busy streets. This in general is just a busy city, but it's pretty nice though. You know, it's got a lot to offer, a lot of culture here. Also want to test the camera setup because you know, as I was at the house using it, I can see that it was lined up pretty straight, but I'm interested in whether or not I'm actually giving you a view of the street, or you know, is the camera pointed downward. And I guess after this ride I'll be able to determine that. Using a Motorola V570 camera with an HJC helmet, and you can check out one of my previous videos to see that. I gave you a brief look at the setup in the previous video. Georgia Avenue. This is a thoroughfare. I feel pretty good. I was a little concerned that maybe my skills would have diminished since I last rode, but I don't know, I feel pretty good. I'm not thinking too much. You know, I started riding in maybe mid-August, and so it's about mid-February right now, so I don't even have a full year of riding in yet. And when I first started riding, I noticed that I was doing a lot of thinking. I had to think about, you know, shifting gears, think about braking and then downshifting, you know, thinking about just about everything. And then also having to watch the road in addition to that. It just, you know, it was a distraction, but, you know, that's kind of the way it is for anybody who's a new rider. But at this point, very little thinking as it relates to operating the bike. You know, still, of course, you know, being very watchful. One thing I have to admit about riding a motorcycle is that the first thing that gets to you is the acceleration, because, you know, you get a type of acceleration on a motorcycle that you don't really get to experience in an automobile. And I told one of my friends who's also a motorcycle rider that, you know, the acceleration was intoxicating. And he kind of had a laugh at that, and I think he kind of understood where I was coming from with that. But I've kind of calmed down a little bit. I do have to admit I was pushing it a little bit, you know, when I first began to ride, because I was, you know, just so interested in pushing the motorcycle. Wanted to see, you know, whether it would, you know, accept the challenge. And I don't know. I'm enjoying the Ninja 250. I know that many people would say, you know, you should have just invested in the 600, because you're eventually going to move up to that anyway, so you might as well save the money on the 250, you know, invest in the 600. That way you can kind of learn how to ride that, and you won't be so worried about upgrading so soon. But interestingly enough, I'm perfectly satisfied with 250. I'm not even really thinking about upgrading anytime soon. In fact, you know, I won't even estimate on when I would think about upgrading, but you know, at some point it may be necessary, but for right now this is perfectly sufficient. GPS, not because I'm going anywhere in particular, but just to kind of see whether I can visualize it, you know, with the sun out and everything. Using an HP iPac TravelMate, and I actually got it from my mother. I was looking into purchasing one for myself and happened to mention it to my mother, at which point she told me that she had one that she would give to me if I wanted. And you know, just another reason you got to appreciate your mother, is always looking out for you. And I love my mother. She's always, you know, taking care of me. It didn't cost me a dime for this GPS. All right, so saved a few $100s. And with the HP iPac, it's not just a GPS, it's actually a PDA as well, so you know, dual purpose. You know, can use it for multiple tasks, but I've used it a few times, so I'm pleased with it.